Hello everyone, welcome to this session. Let's start with the LTC AIMS weekend chemistry test paper solution. In the first question, at 298 kilonewton and 1 atm, butane gas taken in 5-liter container vessel contained X molecules. Okay, so the number of molecules of propane gas taken in a 20-liter vessel. You see, it does not depend upon the nature of gas, right? Because the properties of gases only depend upon the number of particles, right? So in case of butane, the volume is 5 liter. In case of propane, the volume is 20 liter. So volume has become 4 times, so the number of particles will also become 4 times. So the correct answer will be 4x. The first organic compound prepared in the laboratory was urea, and urea has the functional group amide. Okay, so this is the amide functional group. The hydrocarbon in which secondary carbon atoms are absent. Okay, so for that you will have to draw all these hydrocarbons. Isopentane is this is isopentane, guys, and as you can see, there is a secondary carbon atom over here which is joined to two other carbon atoms. And butane also has two secondary carbon atoms, the middle ones. Neopentane, on the other hand, does not have any secondary carbon. It only has one quaternary and four primary carbon atoms. So this becomes our correct answer. Is that clear? Propane, again, it has one secondary carbon atom. So the hydrocarbon which does not have any secondary carbon atom is neopentane. The IUPAC name of the following structure, you number the parent chain 1 2 3 4 5 and 1 2 3 4 5. So we are getting equivalent position from both sides. When such case happens, then we will give the lower number to that substituent which comes alphabetically first. Okay, so it is ethyl, guys, it comes first alphabetically, and this is methyl, it comes later. So I'll give lower number to ethyl. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Is that clear? So it will be 4 ethyl 5 methyl octane, right? Ethylene chloride is the geminal dichloride, right? That is two halogen atoms on the same carbon atom. And on the other hand, if had it been ethylene dichloride, then it will be vicinal, right? It will be vicinal. Then you have halogen atoms on the adjacent carbon atoms. The structure whose IUPAC name involves the suffix carbaldehyde. See, when the carbon atom of the aldehyde group is not part of your parent chain, then we use this suffix. Otherwise, we just use L, right? If it is not a part of the parent chain, then we use carbaldehyde. So in this case, the parent chain is benzene, guys. So it will be called benzene carbaldehyde. Its proper IUPAC name will be benzene carbaldehyde, but it's a lengthy name. So in short, we write it as benzaldehyde. Is that clear, guys? Okay. Then next question. IUPAC name of the structure. Okay, what is the principal functional group here? The senior most one, it is carboxylic acid. So it is 1, then it is 2, then it is 3, then it is 4, 5, and 6. And you can write it is 4 cyano and 2 hydroxy, and there are 6 carbon atoms, so hexanoic acid. Okay, so that is the correct IUPAC name of the structure. Which of the following statements are correct? A pair of positional isomers differ in the position of the same functional group. Yes, that is how we define positional isomers. Same group but different positions. A pair of structural isomers have the same relative molar mass. See, isomers always have same molar mass, right? That is how we define isomers. They have the same molecular formula, so same relative molar mass, relative molecular mass, right? A pair of functional group isomers belong to different homologous series. You see, for a given homologous series, the functional group is constant. There is a specific functional group. Now, by definition, functional group isomers have different functional groups. So they will be belonging to different homologous series. Okay. So all these statements are correct. Which one of the following hydrocarbon does not show positional isomerism and has 3 chain isomers? Okay. Right. Now, if you see here, we have C4. Now, C4 only has 2 chain isomers. Okay. Either 4 carbons in a straight chain, or there is one branching like this. Okay. So this is ruled out and this is ruled out. Now, as far as C5H10s and C5H12 are concerned, the compound should not exhibit position isomerism, but this is an alkene, guys. The position of double bond may vary and it will give rise to position isomers. So we only have C5H12. Okay. So it does not have any position isomerism and it has 3 chain isomers. So I can draw that for you. Either 5 carbons in a straight chain, we call this N-pentane, or there is one methyl group as substituent, so this is 2 methyl butane, right? The position doesn't matter, either if you put it here again it will be 2 methyl butane, or you can take 2 methyls, then this will be 2,2 dimethyl propane. Okay, so this is your correct answer. 3 chains, 1, 2 and 3. Molecular formula for compound is C2H6O. Obviously, you have 2 carbon atoms. Chain isomerism is not possible. For that, you need at least 4 carbon atoms. Position isomerism is not possible. Again, for that, you need at least 5 carbon atoms, right? If it is an alkane, right? Then functional isomerism, that means there are different functional group. Yes, that is possible because if you see, it represents alcohol, and it also represents ether. Okay, right? So it shows functional isomerism. Okay, metamerism is not possible. For metamerism you need at least 3 carbon atoms, right? So it would be something like this. It could have been, you need at least, you need at least 4 carbon atoms. Okay, so it could have been something like this. These two are examples of metamers, right? 1 carbon and 3 carbon, and or either 2 carbon atoms. So this compound is actually represents either ethanol or methoxymethane. So the only possibilities of functional isomerism, correct? You can check that propionamide, acetamide, acetoxime, and ethyl cyanate. So you will find that it is isomeric with acetamide. Okay, the same molecular formula as acetamide. Again, you can check it's isomeric with what. So alpha hydroxypropionaldehyde is this, guys. This is CHO, propionaldehyde, and this is the alpha position. So this is OH group, and 2-methoxyethanoic acid. That means CH, 2COH, right? This is ethanoic acid, and there is 2 methoxy, right? So it is OCH3. So now, if you try to write their molecular formulas, then you will find that it is C3 H3 4 5 6 O2, right? And here it is 1 2 3 C3H3 4 5 6, but it is O3. Okay, so it is not isomeric, so that becomes a correct answer. The correct IUPAC name of this compound will be, you just expand this structure. So this is CH3 CH2 carbon CH2 CH3. So there is basically, it's a quaternary carbon. It has 4 ethyl groups, sorry, joined to it. So now I think you can write its name, right? This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5. So basically it's 3,3 diethyl pentane. 3,3 diethyl pentane. Number of structural isomers possible with this formula. You can, it's only, you can try. Okay, so 3 carbon atoms. Either I can put both chlorine atoms over here, or I can put both chlorine atom on second carbon. There is another possibility, I can put chlorine atom adjacent, or the last possibility, I can put them 1 carbon apart. So there are 4 structural isomers possible for that. The homologous series which cannot exhibit metamerism. For metamerism, you need bivalent functional group. That is the functional group in which has 2 alkyl groups. But carboxylic acids are monovalent, so they cannot exhibit metamerism, right? What is the incorrect statement? This is correct. You can check. And propyl and isopropyl are a pair of positional isomers, right? So it is propane 1-ol, it is propane 2-ol. Position is different. Acetic acid is carboxylic acid. Methyl formate is an ester. Acid and ester, they are functional isomers. Tertiary butyl alcohol, guys. What is tertiary butyl alcohol? This is tertiary butyl alcohol. Okay. Okay, this is tertiary butyl alcohol. So it will be 1 2 3. So it will be 2 methyl propane 2-ol. Okay, guys. And isobutyl alcohol, what is isobutyl alcohol? It is CH3 CH2OH. So if you try to write its IUPAC name, it is 1 2 3. So it is again 2-methyl propane 1-ol. So here it was propane 2-ol, here it is in propane 1-ol. So it's position isomers, they are not chain isomers. So that becomes a correct answer. Okay, they are metamers, you can check that. Which of the following is not a pair of functional isomers? Acetone and acetaldehyde. For two compounds to be isomers, to begin with, they should have same molecular formula. But acetone has 3 carbon atoms, whereas acetaldehyde has only 2 carbon atoms. Otherwise, ketones and aldehydes are isomeric. Okay. The name of CH3C in all of these, acetonitrile and methyl cyanide are common names, and ethane nitrile, that is alkane nitrile, that is the IUPAC name. So all of these are correct. This is correct. This is correct. This depends upon 1 upon r raised to the power 3, right? In case of a stationary, it becomes 1 upon r raised to the power 3. So this is incorrect. Rest all of them are correct. Most soluble, it is directly proportional to size, because larger the size, greater the polarizability, greater the strength of dipole induced dipole forces, right? So xenon will be most soluble in water. If temperature is same, guys, then kinetic energy will also be same. So they will all have same kinetic energy. It is 3 by 2 RT. It does not depend the nature of the gas as far as kinetic energy is concerned. Volume in liter per mole. You know that dihydrogen shows positive deviation from ideal gas behavior. Its volume is greater than the volume for ideal gas, right? So it is most non-ideal gas, so it will be having the highest volume. Which of the following correctly represents Charles law? Okay, so PV is equal to nRT, guys. PV is equal to nRT, and so I can say V is equal to nRT by P. If I take logarithm, then this will be log V is equal to, can I say it will be log NR by P plus log T. Okay, guys. So if you compare this equation with the equation of a straight line, then you can easily check that on y-axis I will take log v, on x-axis I'll take log t, and then log t is equal to mx. So slope will be is equal to 1, that is positive slope, right? And there is some intercept, so this is the correct answer. It has negative slope, cannot be the correct answer. It has this negative intercept, cannot be the correct answer. And it has zero intercept, it cannot be the correct answer. Okay. Density, guys, it depends upon Pm by RT. So now we can check density of oxygen gas by density of helium gas. Molar masses are different. R is constant, 273 Kelvin and 273 degrees Celsius. Okay. So basically, this will be twice of this, right? Because 273 Kelvin plus 273, okay, factor. So density of oxygen by density of helium. It will be 1 atm multiplied by molar mass is 32, temperature is 273. For helium gas, it will be pressure will be 2 atm, molar mass will be 4, and the temperature will be 273 plus 273, that is 273 into 2. So I hope you can solve that. So it is 1 by 8. So density of helium will be 1 by 8, guys. Okay, right? 1 by 8 of the density of oxygen. So which will come out to be 0.125. Rate of diffusion of sulfur dioxide by rate of diffusion of deuterium. So it will be inversely proportional to the molar mass. So molar mass of SO2 is 64, molar mass of deuterium is 4. So it will come out to be 1 by 16 of root, and it will come out to be 1 is to 4. So that is the correct answer. A closed vessel at 27 degrees Celsius contains equal masses of nitrogen and 2-butene. What is the partial pressure of nitrogen? Right? So simple, as per Dalton's law, partial pressure of nitrogen will be total pressure, which is P multiplied by the mole fraction. Okay. And now the mole fraction, how do you calculate? Equal masses. So 1 gram, let us take 1 gram each. The mass nitrogen is 28. So and 1 by 28 plus 1 by butene is 56. So you will calculate, this comes out to be 2 by 2p by 3. Is that clear? Right? The mole fraction of nitrogen is moles of nitrogen divided by moles of nitrogen plus moles of 2-butene. Clear, guys? Okay. You have to identify the correct statement. Okay. Actual volume of the gas cannot be neglected. No. As per KTG, actual volume is negligible. So this is not correct. At ordinary temperature and pressure, there are no attraction between the gas molecules. Yes, this is the postulate of KTG. Pressure exerted by the gas is due to the collision between gas molecules. No, it is a collision between the gas particles and the walls of the container. So this is also becomes incorrect. Collision are elastic. Yes, there is no net loss of kinetic energy. So this is correct, and that is why your correct answer becomes third. The pressure exerted by oxygen, again an application of Dalton's law. Pressure exerted by oxygen is total pressure, which is 1 atm multiplied by the mole fraction of oxygen. Now for oxygen you are taking 0.1 mole, and in total you are taking 0.1 plus 0.1 plus 0.3. Okay guys, so this is 1 atm multiplied by 0.1 and 3 4 5 0.5. Okay, so it is 0.2 atm, and you guys know that 1 atm is 760 millimeter mercury, right? So you can solve that. It will come out to be 152. Correct guys? In a closed vessel, a gas is heated from 300 Kelvin to 600 Kelvin. So the kinetic energy guys is 3 by 2 RT. So if temperature is doubled, kinetic energy is also doubled. So 300 to 600, kinetic energy also doubles. 8 gram of a gas at 927 degrees Celsius is taken in a 2-liter vessel at 1 atm. 1 gram of helium is taken in another vessel of same volume at this and this millimeter mercury. You should realize that 1 atm is 760 millimeter mercury. So pressure is constant guys. Okay. Here it is 2-liter, and here also same volume. So volume is also constant guys. So now we can say PV is equal to nRT. Okay. Alternatively, I can write PV by R is equal to NT. Right. So N1 T1 is equal to N2 T2. You can do that, right? N1 T1 is equal to N2 T2. So 8 divided by molar mass multiplied by temperature is 1200 Kelvin. If you convert it to Kelvin, right? For another gas, helium, it is 1 by 4 multiplied by temperature is 327. So I think it is 600, right? So this cancels out. Molar mass is 8 into 64. Okay. So this comes out to be 64. Okay, guys. This is correct. This is the relation between IMP and RMS, and at constant temperature UMP of hydrogen is 4 times the most probable of oxygen. Yes, because it inversely depends upon the molar mass, right? So for MP of hydrogen, most probable speed of hydrogen divided by most probable speed of oxygen, it will be molar mass of hydrogen, which is 2, molar mass of oxygen, which is 32. So it will be 16, that is 4 times. Okay, so both statements are correct. Charles law holds good at low pressure and high temperatures. All gas laws are applicable at low pressure and high temperatures. Okay? The volume plotted between pressure and temperature is not called an isobar, it is called an isochore, because if pressure and temperature are varying, volume is constant. So statements 1 and 2 both are incorrect. The average kinetic energy guys, it is equal to 3 by 2 nRT, right? Number of moles you can calculate, it's 8 by 16. R is in joule. Okay, then here you will not use joule, you will use Boltzmann constant, which is 1.38 into 10 raised to minus 23. Temperature is 300 Kelvin. So I hope you can work that out. This will come out to be your answer. RMS velocity does not depend upon pressure and volume. It depends upon the molar mass and the temperature. Okay, so this is your correct answer. The rate of diffusion is inversely proportional to the square root of molar mass, right? So for neon, molar mass is 20, for nitrogen it is 28, for fluorine it is 38, for oxygen it is 32. So the fastest rate of diffusion is with neon and the slowest is with fluorine. I'll draw the compounds for you, then you can check out for yourself. Furan is this. It is heterocyclic aromatic, non-benzenoid. Okay. Aniline, guys, is this. It is aromatic. It is benzenoid. Okay. Then THF, you just hydrogenate this compound. It is non-aromatic. It is heterocyclic and it is non-benzenoid, obviously. Propone, guys, is this. It's a 7-membered ring. It is obviously non-benzenoid, but it is aromatic and homocyclic. Okay. So you can check that for yourself. So this will come out to be the correct answer. In this question, we will use the lowest locants rule. So if you number this parent chain from left, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, right? So triple bond gets first position, whereas double bond gets seventh position, right? Whereas if you number this parent chain from right, the double bond gets position 2. So from here only we can tell that we will prefer this set of positions, all right? So there are in total 9 carbon atoms. So the word root is non, all right, and then we'll write the triple bond first. So it is non 7 in and then 1 and I. Okay, guys. So the correct answer to this question will be non 7 in 1 I. That is option 1. Priority order, it is, you have to learn that priority order. So this is the correct answer. Here the principal functional group is carboxylic, so it gets one number. Now all other are substituents. So hydroxy is H, bromine is B. So alphabetically we'll go. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Is that clear, guys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So OH, and this will come out to be which? 2 bromo, 6 hydroxy, cyclohexane, carboxylic acid. These spaces won't be there, okay? These spaces won't be there, all these spaces. There will be only one space between carboxylic and acid. Total number of positional isomers for dimethyl cyclohexane, guys, is cyclohexane is this. Either you put 2-methyl over here, or you put them adjacent to each other, or you put them one carbon apart, or you put them in the trans positions, right? So there are basically 4 of them. Tertiary butylamine, let's check. Tertiary butylamine is this. The group is tertiary, but the amine is primary. Okay, amine is primary because nitrogen is only bonded to one carbon atom, so it is primary amine. On a ship sailing in Pacific Ocean where the temperature is this, so temperature is varying, balloon is filled with volume 20 liter, volume of the same balloon when the ship reaches Indian Ocean, so volume again varying and temperature is varying. So you know that as per Charles law, V is proportional to T, so V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2. Now you substitute the values, 20 divided by the temperature, 273 plus 23.4. Okay guys, you can do the calculation yourselves. Then another volume is V2, let's say, and the temperature is 273 plus 27.2. Okay, so you can work it out, it will come out to be this. RMS velocity of an ideal gas is this. What is the most probable speed of the same gas at 300? Okay, so you know that URMS is equal to 3 RT by M. Okay, and most probable speed will be equal to 2 RT by M. Okay, so this is equal to 24480. So obviously you can find out what is the most probable speed will be equal to, right? This will come out to be 2 into 10 power 4. The ratio of RMS speed of hydrogen at 600 and ammonia at 300. Okay, now RMS speed is 3 RT by M. Okay guys, 3 R constant, they will cancel out. So the speed of H2S and the speed of ammonia, NH3, right guys? So it will be proportional to T by M. So for H2S, temperature is 600 and the molar mass is 34. For ammonia, the temperature is 300, the molar mass is 17. So it is 1:1. That's very simple. You can work it out, right? At certain temperature and pressure, 4 grams of argon infuses out in 50 minutes and neon infuses out in 300,000 seconds. It's the same, right? 50 minutes each. So basically rate of diffusion of argon and rate of diffusion of neon, it will be proportional to the number of moles, right? So for argon it will be 4 by 40, for neon it will be, let's say, x, right? X by 20. And we also know that rate of diffusion is inversely proportional to the square root of molar mass. So for argon it is 40, for neon it is 20. Now you can work out this expression. You will find out that the value of x is 2.82. At constant temperature and pressure, the rate of diffusion of a gaseous mixture containing nitric oxide is NO, guys, and the acetylene is C2H2, is equal to the rate of diffusion of ethylene. Now we know that rate of diffusion is inversely proportional to the square root of molar mass. If rate of diffusion is same, so molar mass will be same. Okay, so what is the molar mass of ethylene, guys? It is C2H4, so it is 12 into 224 plus 4, 28 gram. Now, because the rate of diffusion of this mixture is also same, so its molar mass should also be 28. Now, what we are saying is the molar mass of the mixture of NO and C2H2, it is also 28. If you look at their individual molar masses, you will realize that it is 14 plus 60, 30, and it is 24 plus 2, 26. You will see that it is an average of this. 28 is an average of 30 and 26. So they are in a ratio 1 is to 1. Just by observation, it can be done, right? What is the value of universal gas constant? Okay, let's take that value 0.08206 liter atm Kelvin inverse mole inverse, right? Now you guys know that 1 atm is 760 millimeter mercury. So let us multiply this value by 760. So it will come out to be in liter millimeter mercury and Kelvin inverse mole inverse. So when worked out, this will give you to be 62.4. Kinetic energy, again it's 3 by 2 nRT, right? So let's find out the ratio. 3 by 2 nRT, constants will cancel out, 3 by 2 and R, okay, NT. So for nitrous oxide, it is N2O, guys. The molar mass is 28 plus 16. How much will it come out to be? 44. For phosphine, again it is how much? 34. Is that clear? Okay. Phosphine is pH, it is 34. Then you can calculate number of moles of nitrous oxide is 22 by 44 multiplied by temperature is 600 divided by phosphine, it is 34 by 34 multiplied by 300. Okay, so you can check out it's 300 by 300, so basically 1 is to 1. As per the IUPAC nomenclature, we see the first point of difference. So 267 and 348, right? You will see 2 and 3, which is lower 2. So we will prefer this set of locants, okay? Right? We don't use lowest sum rule anymore, okay? So, and this both are correct. The explanation is correct, okay, guys? The ratio of sp3 hybrid orbitals to sp2 hybrid orbitals in butene. What is butene, guys? Butene is this. If you look carefully, the hybridization of the terminal carbon atoms is sp3. Okay, so sp3 means 4 hybrid orbitals over here, 4 hybrid orbitals over here. So 8 sp3 hybrid orbitals. sp2 means 3 hybrid orbitals, right? Each. So 3 over here and 3 over here. So there are 6 sp2 hybrid orbitals. So what is the ratio? 4 is to 3. Okay. So that was the solution of your test paper. Thank you.